So in today's web dev tip, we're going to take a look at another JavaScript Edabit coding challenge, and this one is all about a specific mathematical operator in JavaScript which gives you the remainder of two numbers. So you might know what this operator is already, and if you do, that's great, but I'm going to show you something else that you should consider when you're solving a challenge like this. So the challenge is to return the remainder from two numbers, and as the description says, we're going to get a function that has two arguments, and we need to kind of divide those two numbers together and provide the remainder if it's not an exact match. So you can see here that if 1 is divided by 3, well, that doesn't work. You can't divide 1 by 3, at least for whole numbers, so the remainder would be 1. And this final test down here, 5 divided by 5, will leave you with a remainder of 0. So these tests aren't really very comprehensive, and that's what I wanted to point out in this particular challenge. But to go on and actually write the function, so we've got this function that has two arguments passed in, and it's just as simple as using the modulus operator. So well done if you guessed that one from the start of the tutorial. And we basically use the modulus operator to divide those two numbers and work out if there are any numbers left over, any remainder. So if we run the tests now, those ones that were given us in the example, in the instructions, and you can see they all pass. But there is a few edge cases that aren't really being handled by our current function. So what happens if x is 0, or if it's even undefined or no value is passed in at all? So if we run that on the terminal just to check what the result might be, so if we had 0 modulus 3, for example, that will give us 0, that will be fine. But what about if we had 3 modulus 0? Well, we actually get the not a number special object returned from that. So as I say, the tests for this particular challenge aren't that comprehensive, so it doesn't really catch anything like this, and it is a beginner's challenge, but it's just a good idea to start thinking about those sort of things, those special edge cases. What happens if I pass in a particular value as one of the arguments? And if Edabit allowed us to write our own tests, we could add those into the test suite here and check for those kind of problematic numbers and values that might come in, and make our function a bit more robust. But we've got all the tests passing, so the challenge is now complete. So we'll leave it there for this tutorial, but make sure you stay tuned for more web dev tips.